Okay, in this video, we're going to look at how to read in data using Python. So you'll often find yourself working with various data formats, sometimes things like CSVs, Excel files, JSON files, etc., sometimes even custom formats. And it's important that you have the ability to read these in and do the appropriate calculations on them. So now, as a starting point, before we do any coding, I thought we could go online and just together do some searches. So I have how to read in data Python. Probably not the best search. So let's go ahead and see what comes up, and then if we want to, we can zero in on what we really want to look for. Okay, so here we've got some stuff. It says file types, open function, create a text file. So to me, it looks like a lot of this is working with text files. So if we wanted to read in a .txt, that might be useful. Now, let's go ahead and say we want to work with a CSV. So how to read in CSV file in Python. And let's just go ahead and add a Python 3 on there, just to make sure. So we've got various things, reading files, CSV files. Now, generally, my rule is to click on this first Stack Overflow. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So here we have someone, I'm learning how to read CSV files using Python 3, and I've been playing around. So they're using the CSV library. It looks like they're reading in their CSV with that. Now let's see some of the statements here. Okay, so they're using with open as CSV file, reader equals CSV reader dict. And so we can kind of go through here and see how people are treating these. Now, I know there's a solution I prefer, and that's how to read in a CSV using pandas. Now, pandas is my go-to with any sort of tabular data. So if you could open it in Excel, you can open it with pandas. And if you can do it in Excel, you can do it in pandas. But that relationship doesn't work the other way. There's tons of stuff you can do in pandas that's really convenient that Excel can at least struggles with. So let's go here, and we're going to go some random guy's blog and see what we got. No, I'm good for now. Okay, so pandas data frames. This is the bread and butter right here. So load CSV files to Python pandas. So import pandas as PD. You may have noticed that on your last homework. Then here, all we do is we do data. I like to do df for data frame equals PD, meaning we're calling the pandas library, dot read CSV, accessing a built-in function associated with PD. So we're telling it to read a CSV, and we're going to give it the file name. And then if we want to see the first 5 lines of that loaded data, we can do data.head. So let's go ahead and try this ourselves. Let's go to our location here. Now, in the homework, you're going to be reading in a CSV. And let's just go ahead and steal that first line. So this is the example 0 on your homework. So we have path XRD is XRD data. So this is where you'd find the data relative to where the folder or where the file is. So let's go ahead and set the console to the working directory. So now we've set our console up here to look into school, MSE 201, MSE 201, homeworks, homework 4. And in this location, let's go ahead and show this in an external file explorer, is the homework. So relative to this location, to this path here, we can reach into the XRD data, and we can have it grab the file name here. So what I'm doing is when I tell it to read in the CSV, I'll give it the path, and I'll add it to the file name. So that's going to look something like this. So relative to this directory, if I add this string to it, we get this location. So let's go ahead and run this. So we get our path, we get our file name. Now if I try to run it now, PD is not defined, so I'm going to go up here and I'm going to grab pandas. And there we go, we now have a data frame. And we can describe our data frame, so this is going to be descriptive statistics. You can see it has the count, the mean, the standard deviation, etc. Or in Spider, we can go ahead and open this up and inspect it. So this is the XRD data you had in your previous homework, and we can see You can sort of sort in ascending or descending order and just kind of look at it as if it was an Excel sheet. But there's lots of stuff we'll do with these in the future. Okay, so back to just kind of talking. We can read in a CSV file pretty easily. And we saw that was df equals read, pd.read CSV. Then we gave it a file name. And that worked pretty good. Now just some things to note. If your data does not have a header, you may have noticed this. Let's go here. There is no header. Our data starts on that first row. We need to tell it that because it's going to look for a header by default. So we'll say header equals false. And we'll go ahead and make that a capital, so it's the Boolean. And you'll notice in this homework, when I read that in, I said header equals, none. Let's go ahead and fix that. So no header. Now when it comes to other file types, what can we do here? Well, in the theme of pandas, we could read in a CSV. We could read in an Excel file. We could read in what's called a JSON file. And let's just go ahead and consult the homework answers. Read JSON, just like that. And we can keep going. Now, in your homework, I have a website you can visit that goes over a little bit of this stuff. Let me go ahead and go there. There we go. So this is how to read most commonly used file formats in data science using Python. So here we have a few different data formats, and they go through very briefly how you might do this. So they import pandas, and then they do df equals pd.read Excel, and they give it the location, and here even they give it the sheet name, so you can grab one of the specific sheets from your Excel file. You can read in zip files, or you can extract it and read the remaining information. Now over here they do a text file, and I believe this is not best format or best practice. I'll show you in just a second how to do that. And it keeps going. So your job on the homework on that first question will be just kind of go through this website and watch this video and try to read that in best you can. Alrighty, so the last thing we should cover, just kind of with the general reading in files theme, is how to read in a text file. So this one can be a little silly, a little tricky. The first thing we can do is we'll read a text file. So with open, and then we're just going to say we have some data directory where our text file is, and we'll add that to our text document.txt. Now inside of the open command, and let me go ahead and clean that up a little bit, we can tell it we want to read the text only, and we'll open that as file. So file is the temporary variable name where we're going to hold our information. And then for line in file, we could go ahead and like print a line, or print that line. So for each line in our text file, we'll print the line out. Now we don't have a text document.txt here. We don't have a data editor. Now let's go ahead and actually see if we can make one. I'm not sure if this will work, so let's go ahead and try it. With open, and we're going to go ahead and do text document, but instead of doing read with an R, we're going to do a W for write. And then we'll go ahead and do file. So we have the file, write, and say this text will go into a text file. So I'm going to highlight this and run it. We shouldn't have to import anything here. So it ran. Now let's see if I go to this directory here, homework 4. We now have text document.txt, so it created it. We can look at the content. This text will go into a text file. So that did in fact work. And now let's see if we can write it or read it in. Perfect, so we can print that line off. Awesome. And then finally, if we didn't want to just print it, what we could do is use the same with open text document.txt and read as file. we can say text file equals file.read. And so this is how you should be working with text files if you do it, using this with statement, with open as file. And if we do this, we can save our text file to a variable. In this case, it's going to be a string saved to the variable named text file. Let's go ahead and see if we can't open that up. It won't let us open it for some reason, but we can print it. So let's go ahead and print txt file. And perfect, it gets us the text we want. So this is just the basics, just a little reference for opening different Python or opening different files using Python. In the next video, we're going to look at working with pandas specifically and a lot of the operations you might want to use for handling data. And then we'll do a brief overview of the next homework. So good luck.